In 2021 we decided to do the Frost Fair in London. We always sort of were quite interested in how the Thames had frozen over, and in our research we found out that most of the time it actually froze at London Bridge, the old London Bridge. This is now 3 London bridges ago, and we thought, well, it would be good to base it around that, so we decided to build a model of the bridge. In the research we found a model in St Magnus the Martyr in London where the site of the old London Bridge is, and we've sort of basically copied that, and our model is only 3/4 size because it won't fit in our living room. It would have to be about 26 foot long, and our living room is only 21 foot, so it was a little bit of a problem to do that. But our scale is bigger than the one in the church because we've done it at Lego minifig size. So in order to get the right scale for the doors and the windows and everything like that, we had to do that. So we've only made 75% of the model. But it is sort of pretty close to the actual model in the church itself. Because the width of the houses are only about 12 foot. So basically what we're sitting here in this living room is what the house was like. And the bridge itself was only 15 foot wide, so it was a very narrow, congested bridge with up to about 140 different houses in around about 1400. So we've recreated 78 houses plus a castle, plus a chapel, plus a gatehouse as well as the Frost Fair itself. The Thames has frozen up over the last sort of 1,000 years almost, and different sort of frost fairs. But the thing that's quite interesting was how dangerous it was to get through London Bridge. So the history sort of tells us that it was a dangerous river to go through. But this is why it froze over, because it was quite narrow, and each arch was quite difficult because they're all different sizes. They couldn't do the same size for each one, so they did, depending on which books you look at, 19 or 20 arches, and it was all to do with physically how they could fit in the sort of pilings for the actual arches themselves.
It's quite like doing buildings, and we thought we'd have a go at a linear feature, but it's quite difficult in our living room because it sort of divides it. It's quite difficult to get across, a bit impractical, but we have enjoyed doing it.
And the first model we made was only about 2.5 foot, 3 foot high, and every year we seem to be getting bigger and bigger. This year, whilst we're not gone up in height, it's not the highest model, it's certainly the longest by far. It's 21 foot long. And it should be 26 if we did the whole model, but that would be out into the garden then. The number of Lego bricks here, I would estimate, and it is quite difficult to work out because there's a lot actually hidden away and there's a lot of very small pieces. I would guess round about 400,000 bricks. Well, we started a bit later than normal, so we actually started mid-November and we finished in the first week of December. So it was a really intensive building period. We were tired most evenings because some days we were doing 14 hours. But we often do think of next year, and then by the time it comes to make the model, we do something completely different. So at the moment we are actually toying with the idea maybe of doing King's College Chapel, because we quite liked doing Ely Cathedral now. And we think that might be quite an interesting model to do, but probably next year we'll have come up with something completely different again.